It does take stillness, and it takes an open mind. And each time you just spend a few minutes in it, identity can shift.
Katie, there are so many people who are listening to this interview, and some of them had some relationship troubles. Some of them are constantly in conflict with their boss at the job, or maybe some friends, or maybe mother, whatever. What would you recommend these people to do, what they can practice and influence every day?
That they identify what they're thinking and believing in that situation, for example, with their mother when they were 3 years old or yesterday, it doesn't matter. But any argument maybe that they've had with anyone, they might start with an argument and identify what they were thinking and believing in that experience, and to fill in that judge and neighbor worksheet, and then sit and meditate in those 4 questions. They're nothing more or less than meditation, and it does take stillness, and it takes an open mind. And each time you just spend a few minutes in it, identity can shift. If you work on mother, the things you believed onto her, we have to believe onto other people. And ego requires that for as this identification trickster that it's up to. But to question it shifts across the way you see every human being. So it's not just working on mother, father, or sister, or brother. Every worksheet one does releases the pain of delusional thinking across existence.
Is it possible to get a little example, a little insight how your amazing work does work in practice?
Well, I love leaving that to each of us, within ourselves. But for me, everything just flipped. It just flipped. I saw that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered, and when I didn't believe them, there was no suffering.
Mm-hmm. Maybe I have like a complaint against one person. Can we do this in practice, like these 4 steps for the community, that they can understand how your amazing work does work?
Yeah.
Okay.
First question is it true? Is what you're believing true? And let's say we're on that judge and neighbor worksheet, and it's my mother hurt my feelings, or he or she or them, she hurt my feelings, my mother hurt my feelings. Well, first anchor, for example, in the kitchen, I'm with my mother, I can see it in my mind's eye, and she said, there's something wrong with you. And it just really hurt my feelings. Okay, so that is a scenario, the situation. And so then I would question, she hurt my feelings. Later when I'm collected, I would sit down and meditate, and she hurt my feelings. The first question is it true? In that situation in the kitchen with my mother, she hurt my feelings. Is it true? And the second question is, can I really know that it's true she hurt my feelings? So it gives me a little more time in that is it true question. Then the fourth question, and the third one, there are only 4. Third one is to witness as I meditate in the following question, how I reacted, what happened when I believed the thoughts. So that gives me a chance to see the images of the past and the future that were going on in my head in that situation in the kitchen with my mother. And that shows me clearly the cause of my suffering. That's the illusion. And then I notice, who would I be without the thought, she hurt my feelings? And then I look at her, I witness her, and I begin to experience compassion. I see her frustration. You know, it's like the I has dropped and I am in touch. And then the fourth question, who would I be without the thought, my mother hurt my feelings? And that's where I get to see her pain, her frustration. And when we're believing she hurt my feelings, we can't see the other person. We're seeing that illusion of that we spoke to earlier. So my mother hurt my feelings. Those are the four questions, just those four questions. And then I invite people to turn the thought around and meditate in, continue to meditate in, my mother hurt my feelings, and find an opposite. I hurt my mother's feelings. Now I meditate there, and in the kitchen, in that situation, what did I say? What did I do? Even how did I express? What were my emotions? How did they show up? I hurt my mother's feelings. So you sit in that, and it can be everything from horrifying to just slightly minor. But it's not, my mother can't hurt my feelings. What I am thinking and believing about that situation is what hurt my feelings. So then we resent, in this case, mother, because the ego doesn't allow to look to itself. It's so convincing. So my mother hurt my feelings. Another turn around to ponder. I hurt my feelings. And then I sit in that, and I just get still in what is shown to me. The work is just pure, it's invitation to just pure meditation. And it takes a lot of courage. And an ego that wants to be right is not in a state of mind that can really sit in inquiry when they're not in that state of mind. It really takes an open meditative mind. It takes stillness and a lot of courage. Identity shifts in it, and we become fearful that, who am I? Without my protection, he said, she said, they did, they didn't, they should, they shouldn't. I want, I need. That's about it for the ego. I want, I need, they should.
Katie, thank you so much for this experience. We will come now to little and small ping pong questions. Mm-hmm. Like one small answer, one small question before. Mm-hmm. Just imagine you would have a chance to meet the creator of this universe personally, and you are allowed to ask one question. What would you ask?
Well, that would be myself, the creator of the universe. It's me, the creator of the universe as I believe it to be. So I am that creator. Now, without that I, it's beyond name. There's no name that could describe something that giving, caring, infinite, all these names just take away from it and cost us the experience of what we attempt to point to. And there's nothing or no one that isn't that. Anytime we are thinking and believing onto another, let's say, human being, it costs us the awareness of that. And that's not right or wrong or something to be careful of or worry about. It's just is. And I invite people not to believe me, of course, but to test it for themselves. And that's what inquiry is all about.
Wonderful. How would you respond to the question, what does happiness, success, or luck means to you in one sentence?
Oh my goodness, the first word that comes to mind is mediocrity. Balance, right in the center, not more, not less, not hidden, not seen, not seen. You know, it's balance. It's no opposite. It's all there, all in one package. Just noticing.
Thank you for that. You mentioned that you met your husband, Stephen, 40, 50 years ago, is it right?
Well, 20 years ago, 21 or 2 years ago.
21 years ago. Okay, got it.
Maybe
There are a lot of younger people who are listening, and with younger, I mean between 30, 45, and they are suffering in the relationships. They are putting these projections on each other without even understanding the concept of the ego. If you could give maybe 3 little tips or ideas which directly help to have an easier relationship for so many millions.
That anytime I am hurt, angry at another human being, and let's say partner, it's what I'm thinking and believing about that human being that is the cause of my suffering and anger and resentment. So I identify what I'm thinking about, in this case, him. I identify my thoughts, I put it on paper, and I deal with me. And if there's something left, then I can deal with him. But it's not like dealing with him. It's sharing my part. You know, admitting it, apologizing, making it right, and start over. My husband, that sounds ridiculous. My husband, like he's mine, my husband is faultless. What I'm thinking and believing about him is the only fault that can ever be. So I've got the perfect marriage.
Are there, yes.
And it leaves room, like if we don't have things, let's say it turns out we don't have things in common, then I don't have to stay in the marriage. Leaving doesn't mean I don't love you, I don't care. We're free. We're free. But nothing breaks the bond. You know, that's why it hurts when we argue. It would be, if I were arguing, if Steve and I were arguing, and I'm arguing, you know, there's something off in me. He can take care of his if there is, but there's something off in me. And these Judge and Neighbor worksheets, you know, they give opportunity to collect those thoughts on paper. And then they show us the practice of inquiry.
Is there any practical idea which you understood through all these years, what you need or what people should try within their relationships, like an advice, a part of understanding that the pain that they are suffering at this moment,
yes,
most of the time older than the actual conflict is.
Yeah, just it doesn't matter if Stephen starts an argument, if he's wrong, if he is forceful with it. It's hard to put this on Stephen. He's so still. But let's say all of those things, then that doesn't hurt me. What I'm thinking and believing about him is what I need to pay attention to. That is in my world, there's only one human being that can start a war or an argument, and that's me. Everyone has a right to what they believe, the people we live with the same. There's so much on these worksheets, Maxim. We get to see these false identity when we look at how do I react when I believe the thought he's wrong, for example. In that situation, how do I react when I think he's wrong? I get to see, as I meditate just in that, maybe for 30 minutes, maybe for an hour, 10 minutes, just that part, to see those false identities that surface, like I am right and you are wrong, and I'm superior and you're inferior, and I'm the innocent one, you're the guilty one, and that's full ego play. So to sit in it, there's the solution, and it doesn't end until it ends in one's own self.
What was the best advice you have ever received, and why?
Be still.
That's on the point.
And why? Because I wasn't.
And next question is, just assume, or in other words, the biggest event on this planet is still the Super Bowl, and almost 2 billion people watching are all over this planet. And in the middle show, in the halftime show, there would not appear Shakira or Jennifer Lopez. They would invite Byron Katie to speak. The whole universe, the whole planet, millions, billions are listening. What would you tell?
I would say 3 words. You are innocent.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And the last question, just imagine that 100 years are gone from this moment on, and the people are now in 2121, and you were gone already, at least at this body, at this form, at this name. For me, also the same, but there are some ankle, or maybe even older members of your family, of my family, of the family of the people who are watching and listening. What would warm your heart to know in the year 2021 that one of your ankles say one morning at the breakfast, from my grandma, or maybe grandmother, Katie, I learned this? What would make you incredibly happy?
One word comes to mind, just notice. 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 And I would hope that they hear that as an internal suggestion, direction. Notice.
That's wonderful. Katie, I'm full of happiness, I'm full of love, full of joy, and I'm and the whole community are thanking you for your time. I know how much interviews and newspapers and communities are coming to you, that you had this time to share wisdom, to share love, to show your passion. And you show also that age is just an illusion. If you love what you are or what you do, you can do whatever you want. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your love.
You are welcome, and thank you. It's just been really sweet being with you again, Max.
Thank you.
Videokurs im Wert von über 200 € geschenkt. Geht nicht, geht doch. Mit dem Spiegel-Bestseller Platz 1 Buch Soul Master. On top bekommst du einen Videokurs gratis geschenkt. Kannst den dir direkt hier runterladen und hier kannst du den Kanal abonnieren.